Because the ear loops aren't sewn directly into this mask, it's easy to replace them if the elastic stretches after repeated washing. I took one of my paintings of a cat face and had it printed onto fabric. The company I use prints their fabric in the United States, so it came back quickly. For comfort's sake, I chose 100% Pima cotton because I wanted soft fabric close to my face. It also has a high thread count of 246 per inch. The CDC recommends that masks be made of tightly woven cotton. As a side note, to make the ear loops gentler at the back of the ears for extended periods of time, I wanted to use fold-over elastic. I had plenty on hand from two of my previous videos, easy and quick cat collars you can make for your kitty, and how to make no-sew ribbon bracelets. I chose to have the fabric printed in a mirror tile pattern. The tile width for each face is 8 inches. Where I trimmed each strip of cat faces decided whether the mask would have the cat's whole face or just her nose. The strip on the left is for a nose-only mask. The strip on the right will have the cat's whole face. I used all the same measurements for each version of the mask. The fabric strips measure 13.5 by 8. Fold the top edge of the mask down by 3.5 inches. Having the first pleat this long will ensure that there are 2 layers of fabric over the nostrils, 3 layers if you use a filter. Fold up the bottom edge approximately 3 inches. Before pinning the layers, check to make sure the distance from the folded edges is 6.5 inches apart. The space between the 2 edges is the opening for the filter pocket. Sew along the side edges. Turn the mask right side out and iron flat. Starting from the top edge, moving towards the bottom, mark where the pleats will be folded. 1.5 inches, 2 inches, 3.25 inches, 3 3/4 inches, 5 inches, and 5.5. Mark the same measurements along the opposite side. Fold the first pin down using the second pin as a guide where the inside of the fold should land. Pin the pleat in place. Move down to the next 2 pins and repeat. The second pleat will end up right next to the first. Fold and pin the pleats along both sides of the mask. Sew along the edges, securing the pleats in place. In this design, you sew casing along either side of the mast to hold the ear loops in place. For each length of casing, you need fabric that's 3 inches wide and approximately 4 inches long. You can use leftover scraps of fabric to make casings, or you can make casings for multiple masks at a time by cutting a strip of fabric that's 3 inches wide. Turn in the edges on each side of the strip and iron flat. Then fold the strip in half to join the ironed edges. When it's time to sew, you won't want the casing flush against the side of the mask. The casing's edges should be sewn over the stitches, keeping the pleats in place. This leaves plenty of room for the fold-over elastic. I'm sewing by hand, but using a sewing machine would work just as well. I'm using 10-inch strips of fold-over elastic. You can adjust this design by simply lengthening or shortening the elastic. Clip a safety pin to one end and thread it through the casing. Overlap the ends by 1 inch and sew together. I've read that silk has better filter qualities than many other materials. I sewed filters from scrap silk fabric I happen to have on hand.